Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Patito Plays here. Today we are here with Irelia for the champion spotlight, or in this case deck spotlight, for the set 2 of Riftbound Spiritforged. So, Irelia Blade Dancer. This card, since it has been spoiled, it has just looked amazing on paper. It's been amazing in testing. It's like Yasu, but more deadly and incisive than Yasu himself. It's so scary that basically every unit in your roster has accelerate for just the simple cost of pumping anything and shipping a rune to the bottom. So let's take a closer look at it. It's the Calm and Chaos legend, Irelia Blade Dancer. When you choose a friendly unit, you may exhaust me and pay a rune or a power to ready it. When you conquer, you may pay 1 to ready me. Huh. Actually, I've just noticed that I have a redundant battlefield that is not needed for Irelia, which is this one. So she basically has this. Ignore this battlefield. I'll come up with something later. But the main battlefield is the Dreaming Tree for obvious reasons. This is amazing with Irelia. And then we have Treasure Hoard. When you conquer here, you may pay 1 to play Gold Gear Token Exhausted. This also synergizes pretty well with the deck. That is a little bit power intensive. It's not as much actually as other decks we've seen before. There's not a lot of equip costs, there's not a lot of heavy power. Heavy power costed units. Probably the most power costed unit in this deck is White Flame Protector, and the rune consumption is basically from your champion legend, because you have to pay a power to ready your units. So then we have the two Irelias. We've been running the green one in the champion zone, chosen champion zone, but they are both pretty great, so let's talk about them. First one is the purple Irelia, or the Chaos Irelia, which is 4 energy, 1 purple power, 4 might unit, Irelia Graceful, that says your spells that choose me cost 1 energy or 1 power less. This is, by the way, this one is not limited to a minimum or of something. So, for example, Unguard is free. That's how dumb this ability is. But let's move on. Then we have Irelia Fervent, which is the green one. It is a 5 energy cost for a 4 might unit that has deflect, which is pretty good because we want to have our units protected from enemy spells. And when you choose or ready me, give me +1 might this turn. I think, at least in playtesting, we've been playing this as if readying at the beginning of the turn also increases the might. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I think it does trigger this. So if you play Irelia, she comes in tapped. At the beginning of your turn, you untap, she automatically goes to 5 might. And then from there, it's just bigger and bigger and bigger. This unit becomes really large, really quick. And then we have 3 stacked deck, pretty standard for all purple decks, or almost all purple decks. You just look at the top 3, put 1 into your hand at action speed. Then we have Irelia's signature spell, which is also pretty great. It's 1 energy and 1 rune, either green or purple, for Defiant Dance. It's a reaction speed spell that gives +2 might to a unit and -2 might to another unit. Notice that this -2 might doesn't have a minimum, but remember that in Riftbound, units don't die when they have 0 might. Basically, what happens is the unit doesn't deal damage to you. This is very, very strong. For one costed trick that targets 2 things. It's pretty powerful, it has reaction, it does everything you want it to do in this deck. This is great. We play 3, obviously, card is amazing. Then we have Angard, which we are running 2, just because we are running 3 of the signature spell. But this card is really, really good. It gives a friendly unit +1 might. If it's alone, it gives another +1. So it's basically a +2. Because your units play mostly alone. You just conquer and tap, come back. If you can conquer the other side with the same unit. But you're basically always operating alone and not doing like a massive board swing. Then we have 2 charms for removal, but I don't think this card is all that good in this deck. And I'll explain why. It's because you don't usually care very much about removal. You don't want to remove many things besides attacking into the battlefields. Obviously, there are decks that save good units on the base, but the setup that you have to do in order to play a safe charm is just too expensive. Because you have to play spells on your units to ready them to attack, and then you have to charm and something into them, and then you might need to protect them. So I'm not as sure that charm is amazing here. It's been working fine so far, but we are not running 3, and I wouldn't be surprised if you cut it down to 1, or even if you cut it out of the deck. But its interaction nonetheless. And then we have Spirit Wheel, which is also a new card. When you choose a friendly unit, you may pay 1 and exhaust this to draw 1. This card is pretty good. The thing is, Riftbound is not a very grindy game. Most games you're racing to get to the 8 points. So yeah, I'm not very high on this card. There's a second one on the sideboard though, if you think that the matchup is gonna be a little more grindy, that your opponent is playing for removing your creatures and it's not racing you, then we have a second one of these on the sideboard for those matches. But other than that, or for example, if you think charm is not good, you can cut 1 charm to put one of these into your deck. For example, if you're playing against Aurora or some sort of deck like that that just plays for the late game, that doesn't have small creatures that you don't want to interact besides through combat, then sure, you can put Spirit Will, it will serve you well. But yeah, it's kind of a slow card. If you can set it up and use it, it's amazing. It's just a little bit too slow for how the game plays. It's not even to the deck itself. It's the style of game that Riftbound is. Then we have 1 not so fast. It's a counter that protects your units. It's always good. Then we have 1 Guardian Angel, also to protect your units. Then we have 1 Switcheroo. I can be convinced to play more than 1 Switcheroo. Card's insane. It basically makes 2 targets. You can swap the might. It helps you play defense. There's no combat that you can lose with Switcheroo, basically. because you can swap the might with your opponent's might. So if imagine you have a portal, your opponent has like a dead bloom, you swap mights with a dead bloom, you kill the dead bloom. It's as easy as that. Also, because it targets your unit, you can use this to untap a unit. Pretty good. The thing is, if you wanna use this proactively, it costs 2 might, 2 power, I mean, to the bottom, and then you have to pay 1 extra power if you want to ready your unit. It becomes really, really tough. I think this is more of a defensive card, and you play it hidden, and you play with your opponent's mind. Between these and Zonia's, which is also a possibility to include in this deck, and Fight or Flight. But yeah, and Fight or Flight is also in the list, so this is just to play with your opponent's mind, basically. But I still think that Switcheroo is the better one of the two. It's just that Fight or Flight proactively doesn't cost you any power. And you can basically move a unit back and untap it to attack to the other side. So imagine this, you have a ready unit at the beginning of your turn, you conquer a battlefield, you use Fight or Flight, when you use Irelia's Legend ability to untap your unit comes back to the base untapped, you can attack the other battlefield. It's amazing. Then we have Lonely Portal, we have Clockwork Keeper. I've talked about this on previous videos, but in case you haven't watched them, I'll leave some links here on the top of my head. But Lonely Portal as Death Knell, if I died alone, draw 1. It's pretty good, because mostly the deck wants you to just ship a creature to a battlefield and that's it. You're getting conquer points and not old points. That's not what you're trying to do. And rewards you if your opponent goes there and removes it. It gives you something back for losing your precious unit, basically. Then we have 3 Tide Turner. This is also amazing in the deck because of the same reason that Fight or Flight is good. You just choose a unit to swap places, you can ready it and then attack the other battlefield. It allows you to do crazy shenanigans. It's also hidden. It also has hidden, so you can play with your opponent's mind between this Switcheroo and Fight or Flight. I've been blown out by Tide Turner personally in playtesting because I thought it was a Switcheroo or a Fight or Flight. I went there, I got screwed over basically. Because this is a unit and you cannot counter it like you can these two. We have 3 Riftbound Dancer. This card is not all that amazing, but I'll explain you why I'm playtesting this card. I started on 3, I already cut 1, but I don't think I would go lower. It's a 3 cost 3 might for a Ribbon Dancer, which is a unit that says when I move to a battlefield, give another friendly unit plus 1 might. When you choose the unit, you can head it. So, you can actually, like, if you have the Green Irelia, for example, you can choose Green Irelia. It gives her plus 2 might because it's 1 from this ability, 1 from Irelia's own ability, and you can ready it mid-combat. So if she survives, she can then retreat and you save your best unit and leave this one in the point for your opponent to have to deal with and bait something into the point. I like Ribbon Dancer. It's not like an amazing card, it does the job, it synergizes well with the deck because it targets stuff. And that's very important here. It gives you opportunity to ready your units and it also pumps them, so it's really good. Tell me if you've been testing it or not. I'd like to know in the comments. Then we have Fizz Trickster. It's pretty self-explanatory, but I'll read it out to you. So Fizz is a 3 energy, 1 purple power for a 3 might unit, champion unit. Fizz Trickster that says when you play me, you may play a spell from your trash. with energy cost no more than 3, ignoring its energy cost. Recycle the spell after you play it, you must still pay its power cost. So, Fizz. This card is pretty amazing. The thing is, some of your spells, like Switcheroo, cost too much power for this to be really, really, really good. On the other hand, if you do this and cast like forgot the name of the spell. Let me just go back. A discipline. If you cast a discipline, which is +2 might and draw, this becomes really good because it doesn't cost any power. It will just give you a draw and +2 might to something, and you can take that opportunity to ready the unit if you want. Yeah, it's generally a very good card. I'm struggling to find slots to include more Fizz, but one certainly should make the cut. Then we have Art of Dark Eyes, which gives +3 might this turn. This card is absolutely amazing. Let me explain you why. The reason why Heart of Dark Eyes is in the deck is that you can tap it to ready a unit, and that's it. So you tap this, you give 3 might to something, you ship a rune to the bottom, you ready the unit. It's so incredibly good. Because then we have Vex, which I'll talk about, and we have 3 White Flame Protector. And the reason why, let me talk about Art of Dark Eyes and White Flame Protector, because they are the reasons to play this deck. So, White Flame Protector, as you know from the first set, it's an 8 energy, 2 power, 8 might unit that says when you play me, give a unit 8 might this turn. So, you want to use this to swing in with one of your little creatures, or you can in this deck give +8 might to himself, ready him, and attack for 16. This is huge. This unit is so goddamn big that you'll get blown out by this play every time. Sometimes I was expecting like 2 or 3 combat tricks, but then I get attacked into, I play something, I spend my energy protecting myself from the other units, and then this hits the board. It's a 16 might unit, it just destroys one of your battlefields, 100% sure. Or there's more things that you can do with this, like giving 8 might to something, heading that something, and attacking with it, and then you can tap Art of Dark Eyes to give this +3 might and untap it, and then you can attack both battlefields, one with around like 10, 11 might, and the other one with 11 might, which is this guy +3 from Art of Dark Eyes. This gives you such flexibility and so much offensive power. You can just swing both battlefields in the same turn easily. And that sometimes when you're at 6 points, it's just what you need to close out the game. It's this creature and one of these 2 plays, basically. Then we have Vex, a single one. I could be talked into having more. I've also considered Jay Madarda to this slot, but I think the deck draws reasonably well because you have Clockwork Keeper, you have Discipline, you have Lonely Portal, you have that gear, that new gear that also allows you to draw. So Vex says, let's talk first things first. So it's a 5 energy, 1 power for 5 might champion unit, Vex, that says while I'm in combat, friendly spells cost 1 energy and 1 power less to a minimum of 1, and enemy spells cost more, 1 energy and 1 power. So this makes combat unbelievably difficult for your opponents, because their tricks are now costing almost double. and your tricks are costing nothing. Because imagine you have this and Irelia. This happened to me in the game. So you can choose which reduction happens first. This is in the rules, I checked. If you go check the reduction cost rules, it says that you can choose the order in which they apply, and then it says that the minimum restriction only applies if it's in order. So imagine you have a discipline, okay? You target your purple Irelia. You have a Vex attacking in combat. Um, what happens is you apply Vex reduction first. So discipline costs 1, and then you apply Irelia's reduction. Discipline costs 0. And then you just play 3 spells in your combat that draw you more spells. So you don't run out of gas. And your opponent's spells are costing like 1 to 2 more to cast. And it just becomes so difficult for you to lose a combat when you have Vex in combat too. The only thing is the 5 energy and 1 power. It consumes your turn. It's not easy to ace this pre-combat. But it's a good effect to have. Yeah, the name of the card I was missing is Spirit Wheel. Spirit Wheel also draws you cards. But this deck is so good, and this is probably not even the tuned version of the deck. But it's been performing like a beast. It's insanely good. Then on the sideboard, like I said, I have 1 Spirit Wheel, the second one. So you can swap out, if your opponent has very few creatures, you can remove interactive stuff like Charm or Switcheroo, put the Spirit Wheel on, keep drawing more cards, never run out of gas. Then you have Not So Fast, 2 of them, to protect your units and your gears. If you feel like your opponent is trying to destroy all your stuff. Switcheroo, just a cool interactive card. You should bring it in against big creatures so you can swap the mites with your opponent's mites. Fight or Flight, just a generally good card. It could also be Flash in this slot to save your units. It's pretty good. And then Disarming Rake over here. When you play me, you may kill a gear. I've talked about this card in every other Calm video. This card's gonna be good because it's a gear set. There'll be a bunch of gears to destroy. I could be convinced to run this on the main board. I wouldn't be surprised. Even though Irelia is probably not the most affected deck by this card, it's still pretty good. Yeah, that's it for today's Champion Spotlight. So, like, subscribe, or dislike, however you wanna do it. Leave me comments. I'm trying to respond to everyone. I've been so happy and grateful for all your messages in the comments with your ideas and stuff. I've been really enjoying to read through the comments and reply to you guys. Remember that the link is always in the description. I'll leave the link to this deck, and I'll put also the link to the video in the deck. I've been doing that for all the decks I've shared here, and yeah, hope you enjoyed the video, and stay tuned for the next one tomorrow. Bye.